Hey everyone, this is Jessica Warren of Into the Warren, and I am back with a YouTube video today. I was contemplating whether or not I would make any more YouTube videos. There's not really a particular reason other than time and other things going on and what I have to offer my audience and that kind of thing. But with quarantine going on, I have a lot more, well, not a lot more time, but I have more time at home. And there are moments where I have been doing a lot of knitting and crocheting and I have more things to show you. Whereas when I've been, when I was working at the school and coming home and going back and forth, there's not always as much time. So as a teacher, I am home teaching distance learning, giving my kids lessons over the internet, have them complete it, check it for them, that kind of thing. And it's pretty fun because as an art teacher, I give them an assignment and they turn in pictures of their art, and it's like almost like getting, I don't know, like a postcard in the mail or something. Like, you don't know what you're gonna get from the kids, and I have been pleasantly surprised. I have been trying to be very creative because not all children have art supplies at home. So I've done a lot of projects where they find things in nature or they find things around their house. They recycle things, that kind of stuff. So it requires being really creative on my part, just try to get them to do a project that I know they have the tools to do. But also, just wondering what they're going to give me back. And it's just been so awesome. Last week I had them recreate famous paintings, and some people drew the paintings, but some people actually like dressed up like the person in the painting and tried to copy what the painting looked like, and they're amazing. I'm just going crazy. I'm so proud of those kids, and I miss them so much, but I know that it's just not the time to go back to school. There are kids with a lot of underlying health conditions, there are teachers with underlying health conditions, and nobody wants to put anyone's life in jeopardy. So it's best to continue on the distance learning, and I will see them next fall, and we will carry on. At least my fingers are crossed that by fall everything will be great, and we can get back to the new normal. So today I wanted to share with you some things that I've been working on. Now, I know originally this was a crochet mostly channel because that's the first fiber art that I learned was crocheting, and I do love crocheting. With time though, I have learned how to knit through YouTube tutorials and other people, and I've grown to really love knitting. I really love the way knitting looks. I really love the challenge that I get from knitting, because for me personally, I find that knitting is harder to do than crochet. Some of that might be because I learned crochet first, but also making a mistake when you're crocheting, I find, is much easier to fix than if you make a mistake as a knitter. That's sometimes harder to fix, when you make a mistake. Now, more experienced knitters obviously are going to have tips and tricks to fix things that I might not be aware of completely. So I do my best to fix any mistakes, so almost every single knitting project I have has some little tiny mistake at least in it, because that's just the way it is when it comes to me knitting, because I think I've only been knitting for less than a year and it takes practice. So I was going to show you some things that I've been working on. I'm going to have a ton of things to show you soon. I have a Knit Crate subscription that I'm trying. There's a special offer. The first month is only $5, so it's just the shipping charges. So I ordered one Knit Crate to see what it's like. I mean, I've seen unboxings, but I just want to experience it for myself. I have ordered yarn from a local, not my local, but a local yarn store in Chattanooga, Tennessee called Genuine Pearl, which I've been to in person when I traveled there on vacation, and I really love that little shop. And they've been, the owner has been mailing out yarn to people who need it. She's actually made little kits where like there's a pattern and all the yarn you need to go with it. She's also doing a knit along this week on Wednesday. So she's really like engaged and really working hard to keep her business open, and I'm supporting her by, and she's supporting me. She's supporting my yarn habit, and I'm supporting her business. I actually ordered some more yarn from her to make a couple projects. And when that yarn comes in, I'll share it with you, because I have completely fallen in love with hand-dyed yarn. I have completely fallen in love with little yarn companies and what they have to offer. The prices are higher than maybe the yarn you get at Joann's or Michael's, but I find that in knitting, sometimes like having that kind of fancier, higher quality yarn, and I'm not saying anything wrong about Joann or Michael's yarn. I'm not. Like, I have plenty of it sitting on my wall and I use it all the time, but I'm just exploring like other kinds of yarn and other qualities of yarn and colorways and how they dye it. I watched a channel the other day of just this lady spinning yarn, and I was like completely just in awe of it. I wish I knew how to spin wool. I really do. And watching people dye their yarn, it's just beautiful, the whole process. So I've been, and you know what, when you see the process, you're like, that's why it costs so much money. So anyway, I have bought some yarn from local yarn shop, and I can't wait till I get it. The knit crate will be coming in. I also ordered some yarn from Knit Picks for a shawl that I would like to make my grandmother, who had a really severe brain injury. She fell down, didn't know that she had a brain injury, started to forget things, and my aunt took her to the hospital and found out her brain was actually bleeding, and they repaired it, but her memory is basically gone. She doesn't know who most of us are. She thinks she's in a different time. You know, she didn't even know her father had passed away like 40 years ago. So sorry, let me turn down my monitor. And so her favorite color is red, and she is a seamstress, and she crocheted and knitted a little bit when she was younger. So I'd like to make her a beautiful shawl in red, her favorite color. So I ordered yarn from Knit Picks for that project, and the shipping time's going to be excuse me, the shipping time's going to be a little bit longer due to the pandemic. So when that comes in is when I will start working on that. But yeah, there's a lot of things coming in the mail. There's a lot of projects like in the works, and I'm really excited about that. Outside of that, before I get into the WIPS, I just want to say that outside of crafting and teaching, I've been really, really focused on getting healthier. Since I've had my daughter, it's been all about her, and it still is all about her, but I have to leave like a tiny bit of space for myself. And so we had a weight loss competition at school, and I actually happened to win the competition. So I lost, I think it was 8 weeks, I lost 17 pounds. And now so since January 13th to now, I've now lost 26 pounds. I've got like, I don't know, like 70 pounds to go, but I'm doing Weight Watchers and I really like it. I was a little hesitant at first, like, why invest money in Weight Watchers? Just count calories, just be careful what you eat. But honestly, the point system's like so much easier, and actually kind of changes like what your choices are, not just the calories. So a lot less sugar, a lot less carbohydrates, you know, just making better choices, because if you make good choices, they don't cost you any points. So anyway, I'm not affiliated with, like, this is not sponsored, okay? But anyway, it's really helped me lose weight that I really need to lose. I feel a lot better. We've been walking every day, except today. It's super dark. It's gonna storm any minute, so that's why it's so kind of like dark and mood lighting in here, but it's actually like 9 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, yes. So I am also working on my health. So let's get into the projects. One project that I've been working on for quite some time is from this book that's called Seamless Knit Sweaters in 2 Weeks. And I laugh at the 2 weeks part because it's been more than 2 weeks since I've worked on this, but I haven't been consistent either, so that's part of it too. But I am working on this cocoon wrap, and I'm about a third of the way through. And basically what you do is you knit a giant square or rectangle, and one line is cabled. I learned how to do cable knitting, or at least the beginning stages of cable knitting. I'm sorry about my hair. I had it all curled and pretty, but the humidity has ruined it. Anyway, so I've started that, and then once you do the whole rectangle, you sew the sides, and then you make sleeves. If you hear thunder, it's gonna storm out there. I really like rainy days. I'm very excited. Anyway, so the yarn that I'm using for this project is Lion Brand Touch of Alpaca in the colorway Jade. So I have a few of these up on my shelf. I'm on my second one, I believe. And let me show you the status of this. So I'm like midway through a row, so bear with me here. Let me see. I'm all tangled up. So I hope you can see this with the darkness in the room. But you can see I have, I mean, there's a lot of stitches on here. It's a long process, knitting is. Here's my cable that I am working on. This cable is actually going to be across the shoulders when you're done. And it's really just long lines of stockinette stitch. So it's like those traditional V-shaped stitches. And I will tell you, there are not mistakes, but not like life and death mistakes. There are times where sometimes you miss grabbing the stitch all the way and it makes a little tiny hole, but I have repaired the holes and everything's fine. So it's not perfect. It's beautiful in natural light. It's, like I said, about a third of the way done as far as the length. I think it has to be 36 inches and I'm at like 14 inches or something like that. So this is like a project that I'm doing on and off as in between other projects that I am working on. And I am keeping track of, like, you know, checking off the the pattern, making sure I'm keeping track, because you have to repeat like 30 rows over and over. And if you're not keeping track, you're gonna get lost. So that's the first project that I have in the works. Now I do have an amigurumi fox, but it's in my daughter's room and she's taking a nap. I also have a knit bunny that I made for her, but it's in her room and she's taking a nap. So I will show those probably in the next video. The next thing I worked on is a shawl called, so it's by Lala Knits. It's a person who has a Ravelry store pattern place, and this one is called the Simple Shawl, and it's true, it's very simple. It's a great beginner shawl, and it's a free pattern, which makes it even more awesome. And I have finished it. So here is Lala Knits Simple Shawl, and the shawl yarn, it's very snuggly. The shawl yarn is John C. Brett is the brand. It's from the local yarn shop that I'm ordering more yarn from. It's a marbled, like, chunky yarn, and it's self-striping like so. And the way that it comes together in a shawl is like, I mean, it's so beautiful. Like, even just the first 10 rows, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this yarn. It is 100% acrylic. It's very, very lightweight and very, like, squishy. I love this yarn, and it took one skein. So the skeins are, I forget how many yards it is, but the skeins are pretty large, and I'm just like totally in love with this. I love the pattern. I love how it has the stripes. I mean, the stripes just came out perfect. So I like the John C. Brett yarn. So if you get your hands on, they have different colorways. I don't know what this colorway is called. It's been so long. I got it when I went to Chattanooga, but it's awesome. So anyway, I have this shawl. That was the first thing I made during quarantine. And then I ordered yarn in my first round of ordering from Genuine Pearl in Chattanooga. And I got a hank of yarn, and it's from the Big Sky company. And let me go get the label so I can tell you what the information about the yarn. Hold on one second. I'm not prepared. I thought I was prepared, but I'm not. Okay, so, let's try not to drop the tripod onto the floor. Okay, so here is the label. Big Sky Yarn Company. And this is a DK. They call it Squish DK. It's 100% superwash merino, and it has 231 yards, 100 grams per hank, and the colorway is Rock City. And I think this is special to Tennessee because I believe Rock City is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. And so I got a hank of it. So you know, if you have a hank of yarn, you have to wind it into a ball or it's going to be a big mess. So I wound it into a ball. You can kind of see this is a hand-dyed yarn, again made out of merino wool. So there's that. And I found a cowl pattern and online called a Noble cowl, and I have finished this last night. Let me see if you can see. It's kind of like almost like leaves. They call them shields, like a shield pattern on the pattern. And a Noble cowl is on Ravelry and it is free as well. So I used Rock City to make this cowl. I like this cowl because it's extra like wide. So when you put it on, not only is it snuggly, but you can actually like fold it and pin it with like a really pretty pin. So I did that for a picture for Instagram, and I used a little frog. I have a little frog pin that's silver with a red eye, and put it on. So now I'm all, look at all my knits. But anyway, I really, really love this pattern. It was tough. What helped me with the lace was to use stitch markers every time you repeated the same pattern so you didn't get confused. So I really love this cowl. It's very lightweight. The merino wool, as soon as it's funny because I've never really used merino wool before, and when I wet it, you can smell the wool, the lanolin, and you can still smell a little bit. But anyway, and it's a good sign that it's keeping you warm and that it's resisting the cold from the water when I blocked it. But anyway, I think it's so beautiful. I'm so proud of it. It was challenging. I guess it could be beginner, but I would say like advanced beginner. So there's that. And my daughter's supposed to be taking a nap and she's standing in her crib, so I'm distracted. I apologize. Okay, and then the last thing I have to show you is starting on Wednesday, there is a knit along for a shawl called the Hipster Shawl. It is a Ravelry pattern as well. It's $5 to right at this time. I don't know if the prices ever change, but it is a $5 pattern, and it is a shawl that has these very interesting X stitches, big X stitches that repeat through the pattern. A lot of it is a garter stitch pattern, meaning you knit on both sides. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty shawl, and that's our knit along. Now, I got really bored, so I started it because I was like excited and bored and I wanted something to do to add to my list of projects. So I started it and wanted to see how I would do. Now, I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby because I have a bunch of it that I was going to use for a crochet project that I never did, and it's hot as blazes outside. And having a shawl made of cotton is a lot better for your summer to keep you from being too hot, kind of keeps you cool. So I used cotton for this. I love green and blue, so of course that's what I chose. But I will say, I think this shawl would be better with a different fiber. I don't know. I'm still debating whether or not I like it. I think the draping of the shawl is strange because of the cotton, but it's not done yet, so I'm not gonna like fully judge it until it's off the needles and I block it and I look at it, because I don't know. I'm like torn between whether or not I like it or not. But again, I'm in the middle of a row, but I'll show you kind of, it's hard to show you. Basically, it's supposed to be the shape of a crescent moon when you're done. It's like a crescent shaped shawl, but they have these X's in it, and it also has, I don't know if you can tell on here, but it has arrows on the band as well, like a textured arrow along with the X's. So I am working on this. I've got a little ways to go. Well, a pretty good ways actually. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still debating on whether or not I like the way it's draping with this type of yarn. But again, I'm gonna wait till until it's done before I make a final decision. I'm just gonna keep going. So that is my other project. So this is one that I'm gonna be working on this week, hopefully finishing up by the end of the week, if I am stick to it and my daughter lets me. So my daughter's home and I have to entertain and teach and make her happy. So there's a lot. But that is about it. Next week I will show you the yarn that I get. I will show you the knit crate if it comes in. I don't know, because usually they ship them on the 15th, but I ordered it after the 15th, so I don't know how that works. I will show you a project that I want to start using the yarn I bought, and I will show you some crochet projects, but I've got to go because my daughter is refusing to sleep. I will post this up and I will talk to you guys again soon. Talk to you later. Bye.